it occurred to me that some of our regular legal schnauzer readers might think, this guy rails about judges and lawyers. That must be the only issues he cares about. And I just thought I'd let you know that there are other issues that both to my wife and me matter a whole lot more than that. And one of them involves our big boy here, Baxter. I'm going to ask my cinematographer if she can come in kind of close. Can you move in close? And maybe you can see his face. He's got baby blue eyes. Look how handsome he is. He's a handsome feller. Let me tell you a little story. First of all, I want to tell you how we got Baxter and his sister Chloe. In January of 2004, our miniature schnauzer Murphy that we were so crazy about, and she died. And the blog, as I've written a time or two, is really dedicated to her and inspired by her. And the picture on the raw story piece, by the way, is of Murphy and me. And so she just has meant a great deal to us. And about a year after she died, we were still in a state of being brokenhearted and didn't have any pets and couldn't bring ourselves to get another dog at that time. So my wife has a friend who's kind of a cat nut. I think she has 6 cats. And my wife's friend gets her hair done in Hueytown, Alabama, which is a community out west of Birmingham. And she and the hairdresser had 2 Siamese cats that they had gotten, and they were about a year old. And the only problem was that the woman's husband developed allergies, and the cats had to spend almost all their time out on a little small screened back porch. And I think of course they couldn't let them in the house because the husband was allergic, and I think they lived on a river where wild animals were around, and they were afraid if they were loose they wouldn't survive very long. So they were looking for a new home for them, and particularly it's ironic, the woman had 2 children, but she was hoping she could find somebody that didn't have children. And here comes Chloe and Baxter. They're kind of wrestling now. But anyway, we took them. They were given to us, and we brought them home. And the first few days they were mostly under the couch. But we quickly noticed that Baxter, the boy, was very, very skinny, and Chloe, the girl, was, you might say, pleasingly plump. And when we fed him, we quickly discovered why that was. That Baxter, while he wrestles, in fact he's wrestling with her right now and bites her on the neck and drives her nuts at times, he's very deferential to her when it comes to eating. We'd put out 2 plates of food, and he would let her eat first. And we quickly saw that she would eat her plate, and then she would eat about 3/4 of his plate. And that told us pretty quickly why he was so skinny. Well, we developed a system where we would put his dish up on the kitchen counter and lift him up and let him eat up on the kitchen counter. And that's how, and it wasn't before long he started filling out and became the strapping young studly fellow that you see now. And we're really proud of how great he looks. You can't feel his ribs anymore, and he's got meat on his ribs, and he feels great, and we're just thrilled about that. And the funny thing is too, he could easily jump up on the counter, but he's spoiled rotten, and he likes us to lift him. So just a few weeks ago, we had a little issue come up, and my wife, of course, we had only had a female pet. We never had a male pet before, and Murphy, of course, was a female. And when we had her, Carol, I'd love to sometimes lift her kind of like this, hold her little bottom in her hand, and her up, and Murphy would sort of sit up like this. And Murphy seemed to like it, and Carol got a big kick out of it. And anyway, a few weeks ago, Carol mentioned to me, she said, when I picked Baxter up, our boy cat, to put him up on the counter to eat, he sort of squawks. And I said, oh, really? And she said, does he do that with you? And I said, no. And she said, well, how do you pick him up? And I said, well, I'd bend down and sort of grab him around his chest and just put him up like that. He sort of does what cats do, gets sort of limp, and I put him up there. I said, well, how do you pick him up? And she said, well, I pick him up like I used to with Murphy. I pick him up with my hand under his bottom and put him up there, and he goes, rah! And it took me a second to realize. I said, I think you're putting pressure on his little family jewels, and that's why he's squawking. And Carol said, oh God, and she apologized to Baxter. And anyway, as a guy, I grew up playing a lot of baseball and took more than one ground ball hit me in a delicate spot, and I know the guys squawk when when they get hit there. And so anyway, Carol revised her way of picking him up, and he doesn't squawk anymore. and we've got a very happy feller on our hands. And he was happy before, but he tended to squawk a little when it was eating time. So that's really the most important issue to us, is that we've got two cats that are both healthy and happy, and we're glad we've kind of figured out how to pick up a boy cat now. Thanks a lot.